This is CBC Winnipeg News.
Good evening and thank you for joining us on this Christmas Eve. We are hearing more tonight about Premier Wabkanu's plan to tackle homelessness in this province. That, he says, will involve moving people from encampments into permanent housing. It's a move that is sparking optimism from some, but as the CBC's Ian Fraser reports, experts warn it will require buy-in from the community.
Try to do it without using ropes and nails.
Dano Mason is using branches, a drainage pipe, and tarps to build a shelter on the banks of a Winnipeg river.
I'm trying my best to build something to stay in that's not an eyesore.
Mason has rebuilt his tent several times, calling it therapeutic. But now he's ready to move on.
This is a stage in my life for my reason that I'm here. But it's almost a chapter that's done for me.
Manitoba Premier Wabkanu says he has a plan to get homeless people like Mason off the street.
Let's make sure that the camp gets cleaned up, and then let's make sure that it doesn't get set up again.
How many people will be helped or where the units will be isn't clear, but it will start in Winnipeg. A professor who studied homelessness is impressed, but he says he's heard it all before.
A lot of provinces speak about this, but then kind of revert back to, we have shelter beds available and we're going to move people into shelter beds. And I think that's very inappropriate.
Jeff Carabino teaches social work at Dalhousie University in Halifax. He says Manitoba should approach camps with trusted allies rather than with force.
If the government kind of moves in with, municipal workers and police, and this is kind of like a coercive move, absolutely, it will completely fail and people will just move to more hidden scenarios.
Canoe promised in last year's election to eventually eliminate chronic homelessness, those people who've been without shelter for 6 weeks. Key to that will be mental health and addiction supports. But the opposition Progressive Conservatives say the NDP government hasn't done enough to prevent people from ending up in tents. 2 years ago, Winnipeg reported around 1,300 people without homes. More recent estimates are closer to 4,000.
I'm painting a mural right now at Reunited.
Back on the riverbank, Mason recalls how the loss of his son Phoenix 4 years ago caused his own life to spiral. He feels Phoenix telling him that it's time to find a home.
I just feel like he wouldn't want me to keep doing that because my son was go get up and get him, like he was always, let's do something,
If the Manitoba government offers him that place, Mason says he'll take it. Ian Fraser, CBC News, Winnipeg.
One person is dead after a fire late last night on Selkirk Avenue in the Tyndall Park area. Crews were called to a duplex just before 11 last night. The person was brought out by firefighters and taken to hospital but died. One other resident was taken to hospital in unstable condition while a cat also died. The cause of that fire is under investigation. Tensions are rising as trees fall in Winnipeg's St. Norbert area. LeMay Forest is owned by a private developer who plans to build housing in this space, but the proposal was rejected by the city. Monday, some in the community were shocked, though, to see trees in the area being cut down anyway. The CBC's Mike Arsenault reports.
The sound of grinding chainsaws and tumbling trees echoed through the LeMay Forest in St. Norbert on Monday morning. A private developer owns the land and wants to develop a 9-hectare section of the forest. But the Coalition to Save LeMay Forest wasn't pleased to see the trees toppling.
It's an act that displays elements of aggression and forcefulness that are unnecessary in the context of no development planned and every single application for access to this property having been denied.
LeMay Forest is private property owned by Tochel Development Incorporated. Earlier this year, they submitted a proposal to the city for an assisted living building, but it was rejected. Initially, they were given a cease and desist order by the city for cutting down trees, but have since received a permit. A consultant for Tochel, John Winthrop, says residents won't get a say because it's not public property.
He had enough of the residents thinking this is some sort of publicly owned private space, or, he owns his private property. Everybody was using it like a public amenity. It's not.
The developer says that even though the initial housing proposal was rejected, there's still a plan to develop something on this land. So one way or the other, all these trees are coming down. City Councilor for Waverly West, Janice Luke, says the city has no legal authority to prevent people from cutting down trees on private property.
We have no tools, no bylaws yet to prevent people from cutting trees on private property. We have a new bylaw that's being created, and I expect it to come forward in early 2025.
Ann Lavin believes council should prevent the developer from cutting down trees, especially when no development plans have been approved.
The city needs to step up and be less cozy with developers and stand their ground.
Tochel Development appealed City Council's decision to reject their development proposal. The appeal is going to the Manitoba Municipal Board in early 2025. Mike Arsenault, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Well, with the holidays here, here's a brief look at what's open and closed over the next couple of days in Winnipeg. There will be no garbage or recycling collection on Christmas Day, but collection will be pushed back a day starting on Boxing Day. So if your garbage day is Wednesday, it'll be Thursday this week instead. Winnipeg Transit will operate on a Sunday schedule on both Christmas Day and Boxing Day. All city leisure centres and pools are closed on Christmas Day and Boxing Day as well. The Brady Road landfill will be closed on Christmas Day, but it is open on Boxing Day until 6 p.m. And that leads us to a look at your weather forecast and another above seasonal day for much of us across southern Manitoba. Here's a look at some of our daytime highs from today. -6 is the best we did in Winnipeg this afternoon, but look at, you don't have to go far down the road to get some warmer temperatures. Portage, Winkler, both at 0 this afternoon. -6 in Brandon, -1 in Dauphin, so a bit of a mixed bag across much of the province today. We did enjoy some mainly sunny skies through the afternoon, a bit of flurry activity into northwestern Ontario. But in behind that, you can see into Saskatchewan, we have some cloud cover starting to push in already. That will start to fill in as we get through the evening into the overnight period tonight. So we start Christmas Day, a mainly cloudy sky. Not to say that we won't see some peaks of sunshine, but we are looking at predominantly cloudy skies returning as we get through Wednesday. Into Thursday, this particular model wants to give us a bit of clearing, but we will start to see some cloud cover building back in as we get Thursday into Friday once again, which brings us a slight chance of flurries into Friday, and the winds staying around a little bit. So we do have a risk again tonight of some patchy fog. It doesn't mean that everywhere on this map where you see gray, we're going to see fog, but certainly into the early morning hours to the Red River Valley, the southern Interlake could run into some patchy fog once again with visibilities reduced close or near the 0 mark as we get into the early morning hours tomorrow. So keep that in mind if you have any travel over the night tonight into the morning tomorrow. Could see some fog overnight tonight. -5 in overnight temperature in Winnipeg, -10 in Brandon overnight tonight. Thompson looking at a low of -9 again. Cloud dominating our pattern as we head into Christmas Day. -1 in Winnipeg tomorrow afternoon. Looking at a high of 1 degree in Brandon, 2s for Swan River and Dauphin into the afternoon. All right, couldn't leave you for Christmas without a Christmas cat forecast. This is Lucy. Thanks, Kathy, for sending this picture in. You can send yours to talkback@cbc.ca. So starting the day tomorrow, around -4 again, the risk of some patchy fog, but we will see the wind staying fairly strong into the day tomorrow, south 20 gusting to 40, before we start to see them dropping off once again. Afternoon temperature around -2, warming up to around -1 by supper time. So again, another above seasonal day as we head into your Christmas Day on Wednesday. I will have your 7-day forecast coming up a little bit later in the show. 2 women who didn't know they were half-sisters are spending the holidays together in Winnipeg. Lisa Wallace and Jennifer Henderson met for the very first time yesterday. The 2 women didn't know they were half-sisters until just months ago. We caught up with them at the airport.
What are you feeling right now as you're waiting for that flight to arrive from Edmonton?
Well, I keep looking at the arrivals board, and I was okay driving here, but now I have butterflies. Now I'm nervous. I hope that we get along. I hope that it's as natural in person as it has been. Oh my God. Hi, Owen. We're the same height. We are. Oh my God.
Definitely, it's
an amazing feeling. I can't describe it any other way.
What was it like when you found out that you had a sister?
It was weird. I thought at first, I was like, what? Like, what? But then it was like, okay, no, like I have a sister. This is cool. I love it. I love the idea. I love how everything came to be with our story and how she tracked me down. And I'm just so happy that I finally have a sister.
Just warm your heart a little bit as we head into the holidays. We have more ahead tonight. We'll find out what Mayor Scott Gillingham's wish for the new year is, a wish he says will benefit all Manitoba cities. We will bring you more on that story. More news ahead when we return after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. A new funding deal has been a dream of Winnipeg mayors for decades, but now Winnipeg Mayor Scott Gillingham believes it is inevitable. The CBC's Cameron McLean explains why.
Winnipeg Mayor Scott Gillingham has a prediction.
I really believe there's coming a time when a premier is going to make that decision to enter into a new funding model with municipalities, one that incentivizes growth and rewards cities for growth.
Gillingham wants the province to give the city a piece of tax revenue that grows with the economy, rather than relying on property taxes. Enid Slack from the University of Toronto says the current system is outdated.
There's a long list of challenges that are new, and yet the finance system that they have really dates back to the 1840s.
The city is under pressure from years of under-budgeting for things like snow removal and infrastructure upgrades, and taking on new challenges in areas like housing and mental health. Gillingham had hoped Premier Wabkanu would be the one to deliver a new funding model. What he got was a 2% increase to the city's operating grant. And so next year's budget includes a 5.95 property tax increase, the biggest in more than 30 years. But some cities in Canada are finding ways of bringing in new money. 2 Canadian provinces share a portion of their sales tax with cities. Saskatchewan will transfer $340 million in 2025, about 3/4 of a point of the PST. And Quebec gives 1 percentage point of its sales tax to municipalities. Meanwhile, in BC, Vancouver's transit service, TransLink, receives a share of fuel tax, parking tax, and property taxes from 21 municipalities. Not everyone agrees growth taxes will solve the city's problems. Local blogger Michelle Durand-Wood says a sales tax would be less transparent and less stable than a property tax.
And a city provides really critical services like sanitation, public safety, clean drinking water, and we can't have that ability to provide those services, subject to the whims of the economic cycle.
But Enid Slack points out property taxes don't bring in revenue from people traveling or commuting into the city.
Sales tax is a way of capturing some of the benefits that are being used by non-residents.
A new funding model has been a dream of Winnipeg mayors for decades. Gillingham set a goal of getting the property tax increase back to 3.5% after next year. But without some new funding or service cuts, that will be a challenge. Cameron McLean, CBC News, Winnipeg.
And now the latest in our special series of stories produced by filmmaking students in the CREATE program at Sisler High School in collaboration with CBC Manitoba. Tonight we introduce you to the Musica singers of Manitoba. They are a Filipino choir who sing traditional songs from the Philippines in Tagalog, as well as songs in other languages, including English, Italian, and Maori. CREATE students Luis Miguel Manguera, Shay Miller, and Shai Vanleski East produced this piece.
Singing is de-stressing.
The excitement of working on something
that you would love, and it's a family that we have.
There was a need in the community for a choir of Filipinos. We're known to be good singers. There isn't a choir in the community which will bring out that musical strength of Filipinos. We see Filipinos doing karaoke, doing guitar, but not a real choir intended to perform Filipino music. Musica Singers was created because of the friendship that has been developed among singers who came together and sang songs for the Winnipeg Jets and the Winnipeg Symphony Orchestra, and they decided to continue doing the same thing which they love.
First of all, I love to sing, and growing up I have been singing, but because of life circumstances, I didn't really put so much attention to it.
Of course, because I work full-time as an executive chef, and also I'm a father and I'm a husband, so I deal with the family home as well to make sure that they're being taken care of. Music experience I have, technically and educationally I have 0, but in terms of loving music, I've been loving music since I was a kid. So
it's our medium to reach out to the whole community, not just the Filipino community, if we can.
Singing songs in different languages is challenging, but it's also a very fun experience because you'll get to learn about the other people's cultures. It has its challenges, but it's very rewarding to sing and perform.
This is our family away from home, family away from the Philippines, and Musica is such a good environment, not just for us, but for everyone, because we also have different kinds of trainings that helps us improve not just in our singing, but also in our daily lives. So yes, Musica matters so much to us.
When we put everything together and the singers begin to realize what they've accomplished. I think that's a very, very special moment, especially when I see it in their eyes. They brighten up. There's a twinkle in their eyes. There's a smile on their faces when they realize that they created something beautiful. And for me, that's my reward as the director when I see that everybody's loving what they're doing.
Rossbrook House held its third annual Christmas Eve feast today. This year, hundreds took part in the seasonal tradition. CBC's Felicia Adam was there.
Filled with holiday cheer, Rossbrook House held its yearly Christmas Eve feast. The celebration put on by the sons and daughters of Italy also filled plates, about 250. Rachel Miles and their family were one of the many in attendance. The event special for Miles. She was a Rossbrook House participant 15 years ago.
I think it's very important to have all the youth come together, especially, sometimes kids don't have Christmas dinner, right? And, your friends are like your family here, right?
Families were given gifts, some receiving a bag filled with presents from community members and the Tony Musto Memorial Toy Drive. Reno Angeloni says the event is about spreading holiday cheer.
Santa's doing a great job, handing out the candy canes and what have you, spreading a little cheer and giving them an opportunity because, again, a lot of kids may not get an opportunity to have a picture with Santa, so he's there.
Patty Mainville, the executive director of Rossbrook House, says she looks forward to the day every year.
For those families who may not have a meal, a Christmas meal, a holiday meal, or may not get the gifts that they wish that they could have gotten their children, this gives them an opportunity to get a little bit more, but also a sense of hope.
The drop-in center will continue to provide warm meals for those coming in throughout the week. Felicia Adam, CBC News, Winnipeg.
All right, folks, he's the busiest man on the planet right now. This is the view of NORAD's Santa tracker as we head to break. As you can see, Santa off the coast of Brazil in the Atlantic right now as the man himself makes his way around the globe. A last check on your forecast next. All right, let's have a look at that Christmas forecast. Yes, a white Christmas across Manitoba. We are looking at a high of -1 in Winnipeg tomorrow. Mostly cloudy, some peaks of sunshine earlier in the day with some fog patches in the morning. So be mindful of that if you have any travel to do through the daytime tomorrow. Looking at your 7-day forecast now, we are looking at mainly cloudy skies right through the rest of the week, but temperatures well above seasonal for this time of the year. 0 and 1 for Thursday and Friday, 0 for Saturday. A mix of sun and clouds, -2 for Sunday, and then the clouds return in time for New Year's. -3 with a slight chance of flurries on Monday once again, and New Year's Eve on Tuesday looking at a high of -5 and a mainly cloudy sky. Well, I don't know if you braved any stores today. I did not, because I've been stuck here since early this morning, but a lot of people did, and it seems last-minute shopping is still a thing. Maybe it was a few last-minute items you're making sure you're stocked up on, like milk or toilet paper. Maybe you're just starting your shopping. Well, we went out and asked some Winnipeggers to see why they hit the mall on this Christmas Eve.
Yeah, our family came into Winnipeg, so we came into Winnipeg from northern Manitoba, Thompson, and we are just doing some last minute, enjoying shopping and the festivities and the spirit of Christmas here in Winnipeg.
Last minute shopping, so I had to get a few things and then I decided to come here. Plus my 2 girls are here too, doing also last minute shopping.
Oh yeah, we're just doing some last minute Christmas shopping. We didn't get time to do our shopping last week, so we decided to do this week.
Because I was so busy with my exams and didn't have time to shop, so I just have to come here last minute.
Yes. Why last minute?
Because it's so many offers going on, like different kind of clothes. So that's why it's a good time to get a different kind of clothes. Yeah.
Just I forgot that I had to have another present to get, and maybe I'll find something that is going to be good for somebody else.
And you can just basically go everywhere and you don't have to wait in line, which is nice.
Well, stores have just started their Boxing Week sales, and I found some good deals.
Last minute shopping, the crowd's not for me. I'd rather get it done early, but it's just me. That's our program for this Christmas Eve. Thanks so much for spending some time with us. If you're celebrating the holidays, hope you have a Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah. We're taking a couple of days off from the TV news, but you can always stay caught up at cbc.ca/Manitoba. I'll see you again on Friday. Merry Christmas.